As a patient, what is the dumbest thing a doctor has ever recommended that you do? I went to the emergency room because my left arm had been twitching nonstop for 3 days. Not like a little muscle spasm, but full violent jerking that woke me up at night. I could not control it at all. It would just start flailing around randomly, knocking things over, hitting me in the face. The emergency room was packed, but they got me in pretty quick when I showed them what was happening. The triage nurse seemed concerned and made notes about neurological symptoms. I thought finally someone is taking this seriously. The doctor was this older guy who seemed really rushed. He had gray hair and kept checking his watch like he had somewhere else to be. He watched my arm flail around for maybe 10 seconds while typing on his computer. Classic anxiety, he said, not even touching me or doing any kind of examination. You young people stress too much about everything these days. I tried explaining that I was not stressed about anything. My life was actually going really well. I had just gotten a promotion at work and was planning a vacation. My arm was literally moving on its own like something out of a horror movie. He cut me off before I could finish. Listen, I have been doing this for 20 years. This is textbook panic disorder. Physical manifestations of psychological stress. He started writing something on his prescription pad. I thought maybe he was giving me muscle relaxers or something to help. Instead, he tore off the paper and handed me a pamphlet about meditation and stress management techniques. The title was Calming Your Mind, Calming Your Body, with a picture of someone doing yoga on a beach. I asked if we could do any tests, maybe an MRI or blood work, to rule out anything serious. He actually seemed annoyed by the question. Tests for what? Being nervous. You will waste thousands of dollars to find out you need to relax. Go home, take a hot bath, maybe try some yoga or deep breathing exercises. Get a massage if you want to treat yourself. He stood up like the conversation was over. I tried to show him again how violent the twitching was getting. My arm jerked so hard it knocked over the small trash can next to the exam table. He just shrugged. Stress does weird things to the body. You will be fine by tomorrow once you calm down. So I went home feeling stupid and embarrassed. Maybe he was right. Maybe I was just being dramatic about some weird stress reaction, but my arm kept getting worse. Way worse. Now it was pulling so hard it felt like someone else was controlling it. The movements were getting more violent and unpredictable. My roommate Jessica came home from work and found me trying to eat cereal. The spoon kept flying out of my hand and hitting the wall. Milk was everywhere. I was crying from frustration. This is not normal, she said, watching my arm slam into the kitchen counter. Something is really wrong with you. She dragged me to a different hospital across town. The emergency room there was smaller, but the staff seemed more attentive. The new doctor was younger, maybe in his 30s, with kind eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses. He took one look at my arm jerking around and his face went serious immediately. So, how long has this been happening? He asked, pulling up a chair to really observe the movements. When I told him 3 days and explained about the first doctor, he shook his head. This is not anxiety. These are focal seizures affecting your motor cortex. You need to find out why. He immediately ordered a brain scan and blood work. The MRI tech was really gentle, explaining everything as we went. I had to be strapped down because my arm kept hitting the sides of the machine. She kept reassuring me that they would figure out what was wrong. 30 minutes later, the doctor came back with a tablet showing brain scans. His expression was grim but focused. You have a blood clot pressing against your motor cortex. This is essentially a stroke in progress. The clot is cutting off blood flow and causing these seizures. You need emergency surgery right now to remove it. My heart stopped. Jessica grabbed my other hand as nurses started rushing around, prepping me for surgery. The doctor explained that if the clot moved or got bigger, it could cause permanent brain damage or death. I had been having an active stroke for 3 days. The surgery took 4 hours. When I woke up, my arm was completely still for the first time in days. The surgeon came by later and said they got the clot out just in time. Another day or two and I could have had massive brain damage. I almost died because the first doctor told me my stroke was anxiety and recommended yoga.